Richard, your mic should be on.
Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me?
There he
Got
is.
you, Richard. Thank
Good
you
morning.
very
How are
much.
you guys?
Good, good. I hear an accent.
Yeah, I'm British.
Okay. Well, thank you for spawning America.
Oh no,
So,
you're welcome. It's my pleasure.
so Richard, there's a little green box to share your screen. It'll say new share, and you click that, and then we'll be able to see your setup.
Okay.
See it?
Okay, you should be able to see that now.
Okay. I don't know why I can't. Okay. See, there we go. Okay. Beautiful, Richard. All right, Richard. So I noticed you on Twitter. I think that we had something in common. I think it may have been your work with RSI. Was that it?
Do you know what it was a long time ago that you actually that we made contact, and
Yeah.
it was a couple of years back, I think. And then
Oh, okay.
yeah, and then initially, and then I just wanted to work a little bit more on developing my strategy, and
Okay.
and then I thought it'd be a good time. I had some wedding plans with my brother, and it just fell by the wayside for a bit. And then I made contact with you again to come on and talk to you.
Okay. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey, Richard? I mean, how, people usually have a long and winding road before they end up in the trading business. What were you doing prior, and what was the catalyst that brought you into this?
So I left school, went to college, and got a trade as a joiner and a carpenter. So I was on the construction industry prior to getting into trading.
Okay.
And that was from 94 up until around sort of 2007, when I opened up my first account. And I was always an avid reader of the stock market and trading in general, and the financial industry. And
Okay.
yeah, it was essentially I never felt comfortable in the building industry, to be honest with you. It was always something that I felt that was always a stepping stone. And then, in 2007, I opened up my first account, and that was essentially my first trade, and then trading the FTSE 100, CFD, and spread betting, and yeah, that was up to 2007. Yeah.
And your background in TA and technical analysis, how did that evolve? I see you have a lot of things that you consider in your trading. We'll get to that, but did you have any people that influenced you, or that you learned some methods or techniques from?
So 07, I opened up my first accounts, and then 2007 to 2009, I just spent my time blowing up some accounts, some small accounts, and learning the hard way. Mm-hmm. And then 2009 to 2014, I was self-studying and just tried every method under the sun, from day trading, as every new trader wants to do, because it's fast-paced and it's a lot of action, and didn't really gel with it. I sort of realized that was a quick way to, again, lose money. And then I started to apply more of a swing trading and methodical approach to trading. And I picked that up from various online self-study, and then price action was a very big part in studying support resistance, also divergences and oscillators, and then just making sure that my discipline was in check when obtaining that experience. And that's essentially, it's been developing since 2014. I've just been honing that methodical approach, and then that's yeah, there's no real influence. I had some studies that I done, but other than that, it was really just a self-study and a long winding road, as you put it.
Okay, so we're looking at Aussie here. Why don't you tell us what we're seeing? Because it looks like you have a lot of different envelopes and bands and dotted lines.
Does
And
it
then
look very
underneath.
messy to you?
No, I mean, it doesn't bother me. I mean,
Yeah,
art is
so
art. Art is art, right? So,
absolutely. I mean, to me, it's a very. I'm on the weekly chart here, so
okay.
what I can see, if I go out to, we go back a few years there, you can see that it's broken below these major lows. And I think what Blake was saying as well about gold and yourself, I think you mentioned it might do a retracement before heading higher. And obviously there's a big correlation with gold and Aussie dollar. And I just, with this chart, with this weekly chart, there is quite a large divergence here on the MACD. And can you see that? Yeah.
Yes.
So there's quite a large divergence here, as according to it. So I just think the
Looks like a
Australian dollar,
wedge.
yeah, it's diverging, all of 2019, and I think it's just trying to put in a bit of a base, and that with correlated with gold, about what is it, about 70 or 80% with gold.
I tell you, not the last year, because gold skyrocketed, and obviously you've said all.
So there's been a decoupling, yeah, from the market. So
yeah, that's the one thing about correlations; they work till they stop.
and yes, exactly. But I think there might be, there's certainly, from my perspective and my conviction, there's certainly a perspective of this long divergence on the MACD. You've also got this very small divergence.
So in your view, Aussie's going to catch up with a move to the upside to the move in gold, or gold's going to regress to the mean to reflect the weakness in Aussie? Which is it?
I am bullish.
Or all of the above?
I'm bullish Aussie dollar.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I'm currently long Aussie dollar.
Okay.
I think he's put in a good base. I mean, look, obviously I could be wrong. This is just on probabilistic terms, but the fact that it hasn't, it's this breakdown.
It's taken a lot of we've had a breakdown without much downside progress. Is that what you're?
Yeah, and there's little, to me there's little details that can be extrapolated from that. So you've got this support where there's been a bit of business, this whole zone here where this red line is, and I think a lot of people are probably quite bearish, and they're probably long dollars and short Aussie.
Yeah,
and I think there's quite a lot of people on the wrong side of the trade. That's just my view, but I think that there's people that are short from where it's broken down from this long-term trend line. It's broken these support this support level where there's been quite a bit of business been done, and I just think this is going to, with coupled with gold, the decoupling with gold, I just think this is going to head up and stitch up a lot of people that are short.
Okay.
And I think it's going to head up to around the 70 mark for a first target, but it could keep going all the way up to 72.60 potentially. If there's no big macro catalyst in the background, with China and the States and stuff and the Fed. So we'll have to see.
Okay, well then maybe Aussie, rather than the correlation with gold, has been trading more on trade war fears with China than precious metals, which, it's a very commoditized economy, that right now it's linking up with what China's doing rather than gold.
Absolutely. Yeah, it reflects that, I think.
So if we're going to get this pop, that technically you're starting to get some hints that could happen, it may have something to do with the situation getting better on the trade war.
I've been reading some other research, and again, I don't want to go into a deep dive on the macro side because I'm not really about that. I mean, that's a theme that runs through in the background.
Yeah, you talk about that over a shot of tequila and a beer. Doesn't help you trade, right?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. But so I just think I've been reading some research out of, I think it's out of Norway actually, and there's a bank there, and they're writing some really sort of contrarian stuff, but There's a view that Trump is playing this extremely well into. He think they're saying that there's already like a deal on the table, but it's just the timing of when he delivers that for the election. I don't know much about American politics, but that's
Either do we. Either do we Americans.
Well, I think that one's throughout.
In this environment, anyone who says they know, I don't know, they're on a flashback from an LSD trip in the 60s. Anyway, so Aussie, let me ask you this. So when you're bottom picking a market like this, do you scale in, piece in to just have your toe in the water? Or are you just, I'll do my one lot, my stops here, and I'll just trail it as it moves in my favor?
Well, that's, again, the cliche, isn't it? That you're told when you're starting to trade or when you're learning to trade not to pick tops and bottoms. However, that's something that's
all I do.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's good to hear that. I mean,
and my nose once in a while.
Sorry, say that again.
And my nose.
Yeah. So
during the allergy season.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you,
why me
on this trade,
I can't help myself.
No, Dale, I like that. I like a bit of humor. It takes out the edges.
I mean, why be honest with me? Why make an exception?
All right.
Or a special thing. So anyway, anytime I hear that, I think in my head and I blurt it out. Okay, so let me be honest with you, Dale, and it makes me think like, well, normally you're not, and for this statement, you will be. You know what I mean, buddy?
Absolutely.
All right, go ahead and be honest.
So when I am looking at the higher time frames, such as this on the weekly, my conviction is 100%. So I'm not going to scale in. No.
Okay.
What I will do, I will go straight in with my 1 hour risk. Once it's developed and the conditions have materialized, and I'm happy that everything, there's nothing that's telling me do not take this trade. So in my framework, it's essentially an A star setup. Everything's lined up. I'm quite happy with where we're at, and I'm just gonna go for it. That's not to say that on the longer term time frame, because it is a weekly, I will monitor it and I may add more risk when I'm taking risk off. So if it pops up over 70, for instance, so let me just,
a big round number. Okay.
Yeah. So, well, actually, yeah, I think
690.
Even 69. If it was to close above 69, I would look for probably a pullback, and then I would probably take some risk off, and then essentially add that risk back in by moving my stop. Only on the weekly, if it was on a lower time frame, I wouldn't tend to do that. But on a weekly, I think there's a bigger move possible. And then I'd take some risk off and add some more, and just and take some off the table. Always feel good to take some profits and then add some more in. As I say, I would make it clear that I wouldn't do that generally on a daily chart or 4 hours. Sometimes go down to a 4 hour, but I'm generally on a daily or a weekly swing trader. So that's the answer to that. Really, I don't really scale in. If I haven't got that conviction, I don't really like doing a toe dip really, because then to me that's telling me that trade is not really. It hasn't convinced me that I should be in the trade.
Okay, so being patient is very important with your methodology and the market giving you some kind of tell. So we have your view on Aussie. Were there any other instruments on your radar?
Well,
Richard,
just going back over what
share?
you just said then, the patience game is the holy grail in trading, in my opinion. I mean, the mantra that I go by, or Able Trading goes by, is observe, confirm, and then act. And if you methodically follow those three subjects and then titles, and then you follow it, and you're patient and you sit on your hands, and you don't try and impose yourself on the markets. I think that's a major flaw and it wrecks a lot of traders where they try and impose themselves on the market rather than let the market tell them, look, this is probably going to go your way. Now you should get in. And I think that was the holy grail for me when I ditched discretionary and just traded a plan. And that was the bit that, that was the part, the final part of the jigsaw, so to speak. So, other markets, I'm actually quite bullish. I think Aussie CAD as well. Yeah, Aussie CAD as well.
Nice.
So
you have two drives. I'd
yeah.
look for
So
one more
again,
low.
to be clear, because I've got a long Aussie dollar trade on. If I was trading Aussie CAD at the same time, I'd ensure, because that's exposure to Aussie dollars, I'd ensure that my overall book exposure is adequately hedged, or I would decrease my risk slightly to ensure that my overall exposure on my book isn't too weighted to one currency.
Okay.
So again, with this, I think I'm bullish Aussie CAD, but I think in general,
it's not as ready as Aussie.
Aussie dollar looks more of, like I say, it's got more of a base
evolved
correlation with gold and the decoupling with gold. So I like that.
Okay.
But what I wanted to go through with you is Aussie yen.
Okay.
So let me just go through Aussie yen. Let me just delete all this.
So this is your, used to be Chris Laurie's tell for risk, Aussie yen. I don't know if it is anymore.
Well, I have my alert set that Aussie yen is, it's a bit of a bellwether, really. You're right. So you can see that we've got, let me just try and neaten up the chart a little bit. So this blue horizontal support line, where it's quite a secular support line all the way back since the last time Aussie yen traded actively below that blue line was this year. The last time it actively traded below that line was in 08 and 09.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of a clue there that I think that potentially we could be, we're not quite ready, but I think there could be some further downside, which with a risk off environment, it would kind of tie in with the doom and gloom that's been the news and everything else. I mean, I know it's a little bit more positive at the minute, but over the last, generally it's been a bit gloomy, hasn't it? The global growth has been slow, and there's been, a bit of a gloomy outlook, shall we say, on global growth. So when Aussie yen just dipped below and then it traded below that blue line, and that's the first time it's actively traded. Again, my thoughts straight away were, everybody's going to be, not everybody, but most retail traders, or shall we say, maybe more amateur traders, are going to be going, look, it's broken that support level. It's a big support level, and they're all going to get short. Whereas I'm a little bit more contrarian, where I'm thinking, well, everybody's getting short, then I want to be long, because I believe there's going to be a stitch up. I believe what will happen, it's not manifested the conditions that I would trade yet, but I do believe this will have another rundown to take out the August low, and then I think it will head higher and take out anybody that was short. And that's, so I'm not trading that yet. I've got my eye on it, but that feeds into my Aussie CAD and Aussie dollar thesis of being bullish.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I was wondering what your thoughts were, since you do mentor and teach people. I become skeptical and jaded when I have a breakout or breakdown, and it gives people too many opportunities to trade that zone of the breakout or breakdown. To me, it's saying, okay, most real good breakouts, they just happen, and maybe you get one retest, but they usually don't give people, 2 weeks to say, well, you missed the breakdown, but I'm a nice guy. I'm Mr. Market, and I'm going to let you in at the same price, even though you didn't react when you should have. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think now that is it 60% of the market is machines. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
That's a
faster.
good point. Yeah, I keep thinking in human terms because, that's what I deal with. But anyway, I get jaded and skeptical if a market's giving me too many opportunities to enter at a critical area.
Yeah,
It feels like they're trying to suck me into something. And it shouldn't give you, real good breakouts, really shouldn't give people 2 weeks to think about acting on it.
Look, I absolutely agree, Dale. I think when I've been mentoring someone recently, and we have like a chat room that we chat with in daily, and he will say to me, not so much anymore because he's come a long way in 2 months. He's now consistent, but he'll have his ideas and his analysis, and then he'll say, "Oh, do you think I'm sort of bullish here? Or I'm bearish there?" And then not too often, but probably more often than not at the beginning, I was like, well, I'm the opposite. So the reason what you're saying actually aligns exactly with how a lot of, dare I say, retail traders or amateur traders or aspiring traders, new traders, that's the way they're thinking. And the market has this incredible knack of, like you said, sucking people in with fake outs and creating this environment where you're adamant you've got it correct, and the majority, I don't know what the percentages are in the States, but I think in the UK, if you just look at spread betting brokers, the percentage of traders that are wrong are around the 80% mark. So I believe that's a lot of the liquidity that is getting completely annihilated.
This may not be on your radar, but I would like to wrap it with that, and also have you show your website. You have a nice little website that talks about your philosophy and where people could get involved with you, Richard. But being from the UK, do you have a view on cable? And what do you think is going to happen? Do you think that there's going to be a deal?
Do you know what? No one really knows if there's going to be a deal.
Yeah, I'm just asking for an opinion. You don't have to know. What do you think?
And
if you don't, you say, who the hell knows? That's valid too. Is that where you're at? Who knows?
I don't think there'll be a deal. I think there'll be some concessions. I think there's going to be. I won't trade sterling. I'm staying away from it on all pairs at the minute. It's just too volatile. It's too sentiment driven, and it's to be honest. No, no one's got a clue, but I don't think there'll be a deal done before the 31st. No.
You don't think there'll be a deal, so it'll be a hard Brexit?
I don't think we'll leave on the 31st.
Oh, we won't leave. Okay.
I don't think we'll leave on the 31st. You won't leave.
America already left, but you're not gonna leave. All right. So why don't you show your website, Richard? You got a nice little website there, and I went to it yesterday to do a little look at what you're doing, and I think it's great that you're sharing what you learned with blood, sweat, and tears over the years, and trying to help people out survive a very difficult game.
Indeed. So it's just loading up. Let me just swing this over. It's just loading. Sorry.
Okay. There we go.
Can you see it now?
Yes. Observe, confirm, act is your philosophy and tagline.
That's the mantra of able trading, correct?
Okay. And is that your desk with a view out through the blinds?
That's the desk. That was actually my the office that I had. I've actually moved office since, so I need to update the image actually. Okay. But yeah, that's why I traded for 6 years there.
Okay.
At that office.
You have a little spaceship, some nice screens. So address is abletrading.com.
able-trading.com.
Okay. All right. and cost of people to work with you, or you have
Well, I have a course where you can
like
access,
a book, huh? Ebook?
sorry,
An ebook?
there's a free ebook. I'll tell you what. So we go back to the home page.
Okay.
You've got a free online forex course, which is for absolute beginners. That's absolutely free, and that's just a text course. That's free. And then you've got the video course, which is 499 sterling, and that's an online video course which you can just access directly from the website. You can just start the course, and then you can just register and pay. So that's $499, and mentoring is on a case-by-case basis after you've completed the course and we've had a conversation.
Okay. Well, I want to encourage people to take a look and consider it. And Richard, I'll be really appreciate you giving me some looks and some markets to consider. And it was a great conversation with you. And don't ever let anyone say your charts are too busy, because they're exactly what works for you.
Absolutely. To me, they're spotless.
There you go. And my trading warrior brother, I hope you have a great fall trading season for your own account and anyone whose words you touch and teach. So
That's honestly, it's been my pleasure, Dale. I appreciate being on, and thank you very much for your time.
rooting for you, brother.
And you. Thank you very much.
All right, everyone. That's a wrap for Turnaround Tuesday. That's Richard Seeley at able_trading on Twitter. Correct, buddy?
That's correct. On Twitter, that's correct.
Okay. All right, everyone. So enjoy the rest of the day. I'm going to have to try and figure out how to end this webinar because I came in the wrong way. But everyone have a great day. And remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. And we'll see everyone tomorrow. All right. Adios.
Thanks, Dale.
You're welcome. Thank you.